we have Wolves.
Yes, Wolves. I picked this one mostly out of spite when I realized I had missed the opportunity to cancel my Apple TV Plus for another month. So I was like, well, I'm going to get some use out of it. I can only watch Prehistoric Planet so many times.
Yeah.
Uh, um, First off, zero dinosaurs, not even any birds that I could see. So that already gives it a demerit right there.
Yeah. Well, there are a few. There's some animals in this movie, but I wouldn't,
Uh,
well,
Rats and roaches are not dinosaurs.
yeah, that's true.
All right, so Wolves is kind of comes off as a poor man's Quentin Tarantino movie.
Mm.
Is
Yeah,
my gut
yeah,
reaction after watching it.
yes. Minus the uh, over the top violence.
Yep, there is an extended shot of one character's foot, so it's got that in the spirit of it.
Yeah, that's true. Man.
Uh,
Uh,
uh, but yeah, this was an Apple TV, or excuse me, this is an Apple Plus original, Apple TV Plus, whatever, Apple
yeah.
streaming service original that came out last September. I remember at the time hearing people like Paul Chatto have a positive reaction to it, but also like it was kind of a muted positive reaction, as memory serves.
Yeah, and I can see why. I mean, it's it's a good time filler, I would say.
Right? It's unobjectionable, but it doesn't necessarily leave you with a whole lot.
Yeah. And good to see you, Arcos.
Hey, Arcos.
He said he thought he had watched this. Thanks for saving me the time. If you have Apple TV Plus, recommends Severance and Slow Horses. I've heard good things about those shows, especially Slow Horses. My mom really likes that show. It's with Gary Oldman.
Yeah,
Um,
it seems like Apple TV Plus does a much better job at sourcing TV shows than movies because they keep
yeah,
getting things like Napoleon that it wasn't very well received.
yeah, Argyle. Uh,
Yes.
um, but I would also add too, if you have Apple TV Plus, Bad Monkey, which I reviewed for the channel with Vince Vaughn. Highly recommend that show. But anyway, but to get to this movie, yeah. So George Clooney and so the movie starts off with a Amy Henry's character who we come to find out she's the New York District Attorney. And she's in a very expensive penthouse, and her male companion for the night appears to have fallen off the bed and died. And so she calls a phone number for a fixer, and that fixer is George Clooney's character. So Clooney goes over to clean up the scene, make it look like she was never there. So guys, she's up for re-election. And so it doesn't hurt her election chances and all that. Well, a few minutes later, Brad Pitt shows up. He's also a fixer, and he's been hired by the owner of the hotel to clean the place up. And so what we get is basically a growing rivalry between Clooney and Pitt over how to clean the scene up and how to fix what's going on. But things get really tricky, or things go really awry when they find the young man's backpack, which has rather large amounts of heroin in it.
Yes, and things just snowball from there. Um, so one thing I just looked up now because I said to myself, that feels a bit odd. Throughout the whole thing, they try to portray Brad Pitt as being significantly younger than George. But I said to myself,
Yeah.
are they really that far apart? No, they're like George is 2 years older than him.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, I thought they were closer in age than how it's depicted. Like they were okay, so they were trying to be like Paul Newman and Robert Redford.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
exactly the sort of dynamic they were trying to go for.
yeah. And yeah, with Clooney being more like Newman and Pitt being more like Redford, and yeah, and it works there because I think there was like an 8 or 9 year age gap between Newman and Redford.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. And especially in the Sting, the way they looked and were made up and everything, you could tell that Redford's character had a lot more, or excuse me, Newman's character had a lot more mileage.
yeah, yeah, um, yeah. So and yeah, basically they play off of each other, and it kind of like so there's humor in the movie, but like of course Clooney's got a very dry sense of humor
Hmm.
because he's got a dry personality. If I'm being honest,
Not the most exciting fellow.
no, he's not. And Brad Pitt's got a little more charisma, a little more charm. Um, and so so Clooney's almost like a straight man to him. Um, but I did like the whole the fact that they're like they do the same profession, they're in the same profession, and not only that, they're basically like identical to each other. Like they dress almost the same way. They use the same caliber of gun. You know they know the same people, and they run in the same circles, and
They just have happened to have never met each other.
yeah, yeah. Even though like they actually like cross paths on occasion, like on a couple of jobs here and there. They're like, oh yeah, I was here for back in October. I took some. Brad Pitt was like, like he got hurt and had to recover, and then he was like, oh yeah, I remember that. I couldn't, I wasn't allowed to go downstairs. He said didn't know why until now. You know, um, but yeah, it's I mean, it keeps your interest, like because you're trying to figure out like, okay, well, how are they going to get out of this? How are they, what are they going to do with this kid who's, really in over his head, and
Right. A mild spoiler: the kid is not, in fact, dead.
right, yeah, he sampled the goods.
Yeah, which just a minor complaint. There was an awful lot of blood for him to just be perfectly okay for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, because they showed it at the start where he's like his body's laying on top of Amy Henry's purse. And
Right.
and the shows are trying to get her purse out because I assume it's because her phone was in the purse.
Yep.
So yeah, so she's pulling it out, and then as she pulls it out, she gets a bunch of blood on her clothes. And yeah, and so I assumed that, well, he had like some big gaping chest wound, but no, he was fine.
Right. Like if he had that much blood coming out of him because he sampled the goods, must have had just a really dry nose or something. I don't know. That's
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. Uh, Yeah, or yeah, and then there's another part in there too where it was like they had this like real weird comical thing that happened, and it's like, okay, that didn't really fit with the rest of the movie. Um,
yeah, because it's a deadly serious situation when you get down to it, but they're just playing around a lot.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, overall, it was a decent enough movie. I could see why it just went to Apple TV and it didn't go to like theaters.
Right. Like if I'd spent $15 on a movie ticket for this thing, I would have felt ripped off.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, but yeah, 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 you were right. We were kind of talking about it before the show. We really don't have, there's not much to say about this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Like just to kind of run through a little bit, like Austin Abrams is the kid. And by the way, none of the characters actually have a name. Brad Pitt is Pam's man, and George Clooney is Margaret's man, which just reflects who hired them.
Yeah,
And the kid is just the kid. He's a very like stereotypical Gen Z soft boy, is the way I would
yeah,
put it.
yeah, yeah. He wears tidy whities.
Yep. And he decided to go have relations with the district attorney, saying that she was quote super hot. And I like, okay, man, if you say so.
Yeah. Yeah. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So like he was kind of an annoying character. In fact, I would say most of the characters were kind of annoying at one point or another. Like I found myself sympathizing with George Clooney just because he was the most just like annoyed at everything, rightfully so.
Yeah. Yeah, he did have a very grumpy demeanor throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, you know who would have made more sense in Brad Pitt's role? Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Because Ryan is very good at being like the sort of sarcastic quipster that this character is, and there would be enough of an age gap that the old man stuff would make a lot more sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I could definitely see that. Be like, oh, is that an old trick you learned there with the cone and the gate?
uh, the other thought I had was that a lot of the dialogue is written very plainly and matter of factly, like almost coming off as a first draft. Here's what I want the character to say. I'll come back and make it more artful later. Uh,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
it really hit me was in the opening scene where you have the woman who runs the hotel talking with them over the phone, and her dialogue is just very, again, like very on the nose. It's very not even exposition-y because it's things that you could already figure out. Like just
yeah,
very blunt, like I'll have you know that I run a very I'm paraphrasing here. I'll have you
yeah.
know that I run a very expensive hotel here, and it would be a very big inconvenience to my business to have it get a reputation for da 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 da. And it's like, okay, there had to be a better, more interesting way of phrasing that.
Yeah. Yeah. And Arco says he the proper term for what he was doing with her was hag maxing.
uh,
Gen Z dudes playing into a Mrs. Robinson fetish to get a free meal. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like if you have Apple TV Plus and you've run through all the original TV shows on there, this is probably better than Napoleon. At least it's shorter.
Yeah.